Welcome to Politico Show on Lions Wire. Today is April 19th, 2024, and our today's guest is renowned political scientist and political analyst, Ilya Levkov. Ilya, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ilya, we continue to observe seismic shifts in the Middle East and political scene, and there is a constant political and military action. And so we'd like to talk about the, as they say, what's happening while waiting for the first and the second shoe on the Middle East. Let's talk about the latest development, Israel's response, and what happened before.
Okay, so I decided to expand the Fox wisdom waiting for the second boot to say it waiting for the first and the second. You see, the second one, it was after the first one was dropped, without going into details. Here, that was the intermission in 1 week waiting for the first boot. And now they're waiting, the world and Iran specifically waits for the second boot to fall. Therefore, what I've decided, I decided a little bit to simplify it. At the beginning, I wanted to talk about the technology, the debate in Israel, and the accusation of one scientist against the establishment, and the biting back of the establishment against this person. I will just ask our listener to remember one name, Moti Schäfer. Moti Schäfer is a genius. He invented the arrow 1, 2, and 3. He invented before, and the problems of those. Maybe I will touch it, and his invention. But it's interesting also a debate among 7, 8 leading scientists of Israel, and even interpersonal friction and problems. I will just mention one. This time, recently, a woman doctor was introduced. So the first thing, she got insulted when she was called Edna, where the other one, doctors and professors, Just because I'm a woman, you don't give me the respect, you understand? Then that fellow, Moti Schäfer, kind of brushed her aside. He said, "Oh, what a beautiful handmade necklace you have," which was not to the topic in the beginning, just, introduction. And she later on said, "I was insulted to the bottom of my soul, and ta-ta-ta. Why did you call me?" And what happens thereafter, I give you just the tidbits of the Israeli analytical top show. So the fellow, this Moti, says, "I apologize. Yes, I was rough on you. Yes, but I want to confess. You see, my first wife was also called Edna. We separated after 10 years in bitter divorce, and it must have triggered in me." Do you hear?
Yeah.
A group of Israeli top-notch expert on Israeli army and Israeli wars only, you understand? It was very, very revealing, you see, how a bunch of people, expert, begin and end this story, and that was very, very interesting, the way humanity, on the other side. But it also they pointed, though I know somebody who knew this Moti Schäfer, and some 20 years ago, and he also had the problems a lot with the establishment, you see. And it seems to me that he is a genius, and like most geniuses, there were they dismiss people who are bureaucrats, undereducated in sciences, you understand?
Right.
Achievers. And they commanded because they had the budgets, they were dividing billions of dollars budgets and all that thing. So they brushed them aside because they had other political and what is interesting, he himself is I don't know if today, but was very lefty. He was in Shomer Tzair, you know, movement.
Okay.
He was a kibbutznik from Shomer Tzair kibbutz. And by the way, those Shomer Tzair, there was a nickname for them, you know. They were called either the white thread, i.e. they had a blue shirt with a white thread. The more centric Social Democrats, Mapai, they had a red thread between them. So those Mapainiks were calling those with a white thread Schmutznik. Schmutznik is actually acronym of Shomer Tzair. But
I see.
in Schmutznik, it's a dirty one. You understand Schmutz from the word Schmutz. So in any case, I'm trying to...
He must have been in Labour Party then.
Yes, but Labour Party had 3-4 wings, you know. This was Mapai, Achdut Avoda, there was Shomer Tzair, and there was another group of social democrats. When Israel was the only country in those days which had 2 communist parties in the parliament. You know what a blow was into the Soviet Union? What does it mean to have 2 communist parties? Huh? All right. I hope you enjoyed this introduction, you know, for our serious topic. And this what it is. A week ago, we didn't know, we barely knew of the attack, not details, about which I will talk someday separately, technically, about those experts and people. And there was a big debate. The entire world was debated what Israel should do. It's never happened like this, you know. Said, world debate, what should this tiny country do to that other country which committed such atrocities against it? First of all, I would like you and our listeners to know 2 facts. That is, the size of Iran, which is approximately the entire Western Europe. I'll give you in square kilometers. In square kilometers, it is 22,104,000. No, I'm sorry, it's Israel. The Iranian is 1,648,195 square kilometers. You got it? 1,650,000. Now, Israel is only 22,140. That is, Iran is practically larger than Israel, let's say 75 times, in order to remember. It's a little bit 74.4. So 75,000 larger. The population is different as well. Iran has 80 million, and Israel had barely Jewish 9 million. So give and take, the population is Iran larger 10 times in population. The other aspects, just to mention it, in Iran, there are 50, 60 subgroups and ethnicities. You cannot imagine how disunited country is, and therefore it requires that authoritarian regime of the Shah and later on of the Ayatollahs. You understand? Because they could not contain this so different and big country with pluralistic democracy. There will be splitters unless they make a federation.
So you're talking about the difference in different ethnicities. There are multiple ethnicities living in different sub-nations, but they're all or almost entirely they are Shiite, religiously.
No. You have Arabs, Sunnis. Yes, in Iraq. I'm sorry.
In Iran, but small proportion, I would think.
No, but you have a huge part. I think I spoke to you about this radio station. I don't know if I told it last time. There were a lot of Azerbaijanis in the northern part of Iran. They claim this territory, not simply a lot of them. There are millions of them there, more maybe than in Azerbaijan itself. So they are also, and the Baluchistani big group, and the many, many more, tens. Now, what's interesting is Israel, some many years ago, decided to communicate a radio station just between people, mothers would talk about their problems or about the sickness of their children. And Israeli doctors would advise them, not without really testing them and checking, that they would say it could be that, and they should advise them which kind of doctor go, etc. That was a human bridge. There was another radio station established in Israel to Iraq. This was a radio station that was, in a way, supported the separation of Azeris. This was not the Israel. The station was in Israel. People that were managing this project came to me and said, listen, could you help somebody might be interested to the monies to this project were very, very negligent, only about $1 million per year, This is what you call peanuts for a network project. They didn't fund it, and therefore it disappeared. This station did not function anymore. Other things I want to tell you from my other readings long before, said the Israelis in 1978 were ready to give Iran, it was still Shah, ready to give Iran the rocket technology. Rocket technology of Israel. If the revolution would have happened 2, 3, 4 months later, Israel would have given them the Iranian. And can you imagine this state, which declared from day one Israel has no right to exist, would have the Israeli technology of rockets, You see how
It was Jericho, I assume? Was it Jericho rockets? I think the ballistic...
I must confess, I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but those in 78. And the revolution was in January, you understand, 79. Just for people to know, The Israelis had to just rush, as fast as they can out of Iran. And they had their schools, children, family.
There was cooperation of very friendly, two friendly countries. I think there was a oil pipeline going from Iran through to Haifa, if I'm not mistaken, that was stopped or disassembled eventually, but during Shah time. And Israeli soccer teams played quite openly with Iranian teams.
I'm not, well, I have a question mark. How could it be a pipeline going what, Iraq and Syria?
I believe so, yes. I think that's...
No, listen, no. And the same thing with the soccer, maybe in some international, but not in not
Not regional, not regional, but one-on-one they played.
Yeah.
This is what I read about during Shah time. They were quite friendly, Iran and Israel.
Well, that's what I just said. They were extremely effectively because it was within the plans of Kissinger to make Iran the regional superpower. And because Iran was friendly, Israel did not object. You understand? That's all. Now, what is interesting, 50 years more ahead, 50 years. And what is the story? The story is that United States also, Biden, not United, Biden wanted also to create Iran as the regional superpower. You see, this is where the problem began. But let's put it aside. Let's begin once again what I said. There was an interesting debate worldwide and in Israel. What should Israelis do? You know, and everybody on each bazaar, on each studio, on each radio station in Israel, I will talk primarily, and of course around the world, I will give you some information. What should Israel do? You know? So the debate was along the following three venues. First of all, they should deserve. They should deserve a, a reply, avenge what Iranians did to them. Now, the classic definition, which is the best vengeance, when it is served cold. I.e., not immediately, wait, let it be the element of surprise which will multiply the power of this vengeance when they are non-expected, not when they are expected. So first of all, began of entire theories and analysis of the air defense system of Iranians. Now, some people say they have the Russian systems 300 or the 400 or variety. The point is, I just come to this, to that, the Israeli response proved their system is very, very porous. And this is the main thing. Now the world, the United States and Israel have proved that they can be easily penetrated. You understand? And therefore, this becomes a big problem for Iranians. So, what should Israel do? Prove it immediately once again, or let's say they have other four problems. There are five actually problems that Iran causes Israel nowadays. One is those Houthis that continue to bombard and capture a ship that was partially owned by in Israel. Secondly, they have the problem of hostages in Gaza. You know what? Because it's a lot of protests again. There are tens and tens, if 100,000, begin to protest this intersection, such worldwide known as Kaplan, from Kaplan Street, and they, in a way, say, "Where's our hostages? You are no good nicks," as a good English expression says, and Israeli government must go. Now, even if I want you to understand, Israeli government decided, okay, we'll do the election. However, the election being stated in 6-7 months. That is the entire unity of Israel, which is a very, very, very important, is disintegrates. And during the war, I'll come to this, I hope I will remember, or let me look at it, something there. This will be a disadvantage for the Israelis, for whatever will come, whatever the shoe lands in itself, you know. So the question is, now to deal with hostages, or to deal with at the moment, or to deal with the Iranians. Secondly, even the element of Rafah, that is what to do in Gaza besides hostages. What to do? They have this Rafah or Rafah, as it's called in Arabic and Hebrew. They have to solve this problem. And this problem now is on hold. And with this is on hold, the supplies that comes into Gaza also supports the Hamas forces with everything, with fuel, food, water, etc. So this is the Israel also has to do and is aware that there are 100,000 rockets in Hezbollah. And Hezbollah is the most loyal kind of the Iranians. However, at the same time, they hold nowadays about 60% of the government of Lebanon. So there, at the same time, are marionettes, which is manipulated by Iran. They are also members of the Lebanese government, and they will be responsible, and they would like as much as possible to be known as a part of the Lebanese government. Most people don't know, they think they're simply militias. So this is the problem. And of course, then various aspects about what to do and what not to do. In Israel, primarily, one element was agreement, and that is that if you have been disclosed as a weakling, you are nobody. And then this disrespect invites additional boot, an additional rockets and drones and krылатые, those rockets, wing rockets, what's the precise word? So in any case.
So speaking of Lebanon and its military structure, Lebanon has its own army, which is not subservient to Hamas, correct? And it has its own stockpile of weapons.
But this army is no way is comparable to that of Hezbollah.
Hezbollah.
Yes, Hezbollah doesn't have an air force nor tanks, right? But they shoot Israel much more intensive than the army of Lebanon, which does not participate on this front.
Right.
Have just one of the errors in the old days where I don't told you, it's the kind of absolute axiom. We don't know, the Israelis said, who will be the first Israeli partner for peace, but we know who will be the second. It will be Lebanon. See? That is kind of a domino, wrong domino theory, which was actually dominating the Israeli dreams about peace, which of course forced Israel to embrace the unknown and i.e. Oslo, and all once again accelerated this so-called axiom that if there will be only peace, then everything will be fine. So let me go back now to conclude. Let me first of all, I wanted to say, this Bibi's statement, unity and determination are the elements of it. It's also they in Hebrew it's achdut v'nechishut. Those were the two elements that gave Israeli victory in 1948 and in 1968. And by the way, In the political lexicon of Israel today, the word victory is, you will never find it. When they say nobody talks about victories. Yes, we crush them, the various military, chief of staff, minister of defense, and all this. They never ever use the word victory because it becomes kind of a, in the best case, ineffective word. Ineffective, you see, it's so good. When you say victory, it's such a blasé, it's general and all thing. And on the other hand, victory indeed should be always the core of this. This is why United States, 3 months after Pearl Harbor, bombed Tokyo. 3 months after it, they bombed Tokyo. So back to this. So there are so many debates. They say, "Oh, we have to extend. We have the compromise." There are many articles. I prepared them. I don't want to go over them. How Biden's doctrine, the Biden doctrine about the Middle East, which was continuation of his previous, that a year ago, i.e., to create stabilization by having Saudi Arabia, United States, and Israel. But a precondition to this was the establishment of the Palestinian state, demilitarized. First of all, it's such a nonsense to give to a movement, that fights with Israel 75 years and suddenly gives them a state which is demilitarized. That's not. It's okay. Remind.
I think, yeah.
Cute Israeli joke. Some 50 years ago, there was an actor. He was playing in a bar in a wild west, and finally they had to draw. And suddenly this fellow who is of Sephardi tells the other fellow, "Johnny, you're playing with fire in Yiddish." Johnny, du spielst dich mit Feuer. So this was kind would be approach to give to such Hamas, Hezbollah, and all those things that just manipulated by Iran to give them non-militarized, demilitarized state. Whether there are cannons, no tanks, I don't know what, submarines they would like.
Yeah, it cannot work simply because the mindset of the people is no recognition of Israel, no recognition of Jews on the Middle East, and Palestine is exclusively on Arab land. I think until the population is de-radicalized and that mindset changes, there shouldn't be conversation about a separate entity.
Actually, this is not exactly, I'll give you the root of all roots here. It's not that there will be no Palestinian state. The roots of the Arabs said there is no place in this area for a Jewish state. Jewish, it's written in their old documents.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Until that mentality changes, until they start recognizing, Hamas is still claiming no recognition of Jewish state. It should go. Yeah. And obviously it's not going to happen. So there will be perpetual war. And if you start giving them tanks and create the state, they're going to get armed and they're going to start shooting.
But of course, they don't have to cross even the border in the West, the so-called Yehuda and Shomron. West Bank will be in their hands. 10, 15 kilometers.
Yeah.
It's from artillery and tanks, they go over.
The Tulkarm, I think, it's right by Netanya, I believe. No? Am I missing something?
No, it's around there. They have it, one of the narrowest, but they can hit the international airport Orion from the West Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. Less than 50 miles.
Right.
So I would say this is what we now negotiate. The question is if the previous conception of American administration, this particular, to be a favor, to have a favor and to talk them. If only, like in that song, if we could speak with the animals. You remember, Doctor? It's very prominent song in the United States. But you cannot, because the last things that they want and need is peace. You understand? The last, including, they don't need another Arab state. They want war until they destroy the Jewish state. It's an absolute, unquestionable dogma of the Arab world. So they sought to do this, to bypass a Palestinian state with Abraham Accords. Then Biden buried it. Then they tried his own, i.e., Saudi Arabia, Israel, and United States, with allowing something, this carrot, so there will be a Palestinian state, a disarmed Palestinian state, but it's only invitation to catastrophe, to unmentionable catastrophe, you understand? And
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, sorry, I'm going to interject here. Do you think that the pull on part of and the change of heart on part of Gulf states to go for normalization of relationship with Israel, is it more due to genuine recognition of the fact that Jews are here to stay? They came back home. They're probably not a threat to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and other states in the Gulf, or is it more driven by the threat that is presented by Iran to Sunni states?
Well, this comes out that Iran is challenging the Sunni world, that they are the true carriers, true and loyal carriers of
Islam.
Now, of course, in order to them, they cannot do it physically or military, because the Sunni world, about 80-85% of all Muslims, and only 15, 20, less than 20, 15% are Shia. Therefore, this huge country wants to have its status elevated and to be the dominant power. Now they can do it in two ways. A, to develop their own nuclear weapon. B, to unleash war, to show that they are mighty, to unleash war by various subsidiaries against Jewish state. And then they're showing, you see, who is the real carrier of the flag of Islam, of Islam. They are structurally building themselves into this system. And therefore, they are on a clash with most their Sunni neighbors. And Sunni's neighbors are afraid. But what can they do? Because they have to create link with which they're not afraid, the Sunni state by now, that Israel will occupy them at all. They even wouldn't be afraid if Israel ever will use the nuclear weapon. However, they are fearful if this weapon falls into the hand of Iranian. So all those, now we have several points which create silhouette and the content of this situation. And options are rather obvious. Primarily, they're problematic because the elections are in 200 days. This is the one thing. And therefore, the American strategy depends. They trying not to lose Michigan. You understand? They're losing more in Michigan nowadays. And today, the Biden would be losing the election, you see, national election. So therefore, and the other thing is, which is also very, they ask Israel, American, ask Israel to continue their, to listen to them and to be content with what is happening, not to aggravate too much. Because with that aggravation, the most important is not that Israel will knock out or challenge the nuke industry in Isfahan. There are two points of industry. One is the storage of the nuclear materials. The other one, the production.
Yeah.
Of. Therefore, but there's another one. You see, this doesn't, because nobody, listen, where all those oldies who have their grandchildren don't want them to die. They are ready to die, but they don't want their grandchildren to die. So the use of nuclear is very, very minimal. The question is, it's under nuclear. Under nuclear, it's not that, it wouldn't be World War III annihilation of most of the participants who did. So the problem is that United States back to its old formula. Please, Israelis, don't disturb the peace. Israel is considered by somebody who is disturbing the. And when this kind of situation, which is putting reality on its head, dominates, and when they are massive, as we saw yesterday at Columbia, what is going on. So it's a psychosis. It's a certain popular psychosis. And because we have X and we have Instagram and Telegram and Facebook, everything is multiplied. Primarily, the crazier idea is, the more popular
it gets. Yeah, it's very unfortunate, because I would think that, given that Iran has sent tremendous amount of rocket power, drones, all sorts of weaponry, well, 3 classes of weaponry, towards Israel, and Israel shut them down mostly on its own, Israel is open to a very strong response. They should be, I would think, it's a great opportunity for Israel to orchestrate a nuclear castration of Iran at this point. It would be fully justified, and regardless of what Iran has to offer back to Israel as a response, Israel could take out, at least in theory, and I think there is plenty of capability, take out all of the nuclear production, at least, capability.
It's, as the song goes, it ain't necessarily so.
Ain't necessarily so, okay.
Now, because it's very, very deep under the mountains, and the top American bombs that the Americans gave to Israel, it's 900 kilograms, it's almost 2,000 pounds, they will not penetrate. What can be done simpler and without a really big technology is to destroy the oil industry of Iran. However, United States doesn't want
that, because we have election in pretty soon.
Because it will hype the prices of energy worldwide, including United States, and because United States committed circumcision upon itself with its theory of green energy, which is not seen around, and let's not go into this now. The prices will go up if we don't drill. Very, very simple. So therefore, if the prices go up, it will be the catastrophe to President Biden.
That's what I'm saying. Because of election.
Yeah, well,
If we were in a phase where he was just elected, if we are right after the election and he won the election, he might have behaved differently. I'm sure he would, actually.
he was being busy with doing many other things which are not wise. But Biden, I'm talking quoting historians, leading American historians, and politicians who were the head of the CIA and the Minister of Defense. They said it openly, including President Barack Obama. He said when Biden makes a mistake, it's a horrible mistake. It's a horrible mix. I think we concluded and exhausted really creating this map where I would like our listeners listen once, twice, disagree, agree. Tell us, are we talking to the point or we are dancing?
Yes, we are going to ask our listeners to provide comments on our YouTube channel and opine and perhaps suggest additional subjects or subtopics to drill down in. Thank you, Ilya. It was very revealing, very interesting conversation, and hope to continue soon as we observe the unfolding story of the Middle East, New Middle East.
New Middle East. Thank you for inviting me. I hope I was cogent enough and clear enough to provide those points and ideas that must be somehow be known, accepted in order to come up with a future solutions for future problems.
Thank you. Au revoir.